Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Still working away on the Gladiator. We are getting really close and we are just days away from heading out on a trip. So really kind of busting it here in the shop to get everything ready to go. And one of the things I want to do before we go is to install this Genesis Offroad dual battery kit in the Gladiator. So this is going to allow me to have an isolated starting battery and then an auxiliary battery to run all my accessories. So if I want to run my lights at night with it off, or run power to my fridge, any of that kind of stuff, I can run it off of this and it will isolate the starting battery so that I don't end up with a dead battery and stuck out on the trail or the campsite somewhere. So we're going to get started on this. There is quite a bit that I have to take apart on the inside of the Jeep under the hood. So I've got to take the stock battery out. We got to disconnect the fuse box, the air filter, and take the stock battery tray out. And this will actually go in its place. So we'll get started on it. All right, so the first thing we need to do is disconnect the battery. So we're going to do that with a 10 millimeter. Now this is definitely going to get interesting because I have so many accessories connected to this, but we'll see if we can get it. All right, so now we need to pull the air box. Okay, so to remove the bottom part of the air box, there's a single 10 millimeter bolt over here on the fender side. We remove that. Should just wiggle out. Just wiggle out, right. There we go. And then we need to move the power steering reservoir out of the way for right now. So another 10 millimeter bolt holding that on. If I could do it without dropping my tools, it'd be great. Okay, so the next thing is to take the fuse cover, pull the fuse box out. And this could get quite interesting. Probably gonna have to release some of these wires. Fuse box cover. Now there's 4 7 millimeter bolts. And then there are a number of wires here that come in that we need to remove. They're 10 millimeter nuts on them, but I'm going to mark. Supposedly these are stamped, but they're hard to see, and especially with how tall I've got this thing, I'm going to actually mark them in what order they go in. So now there are some clips here that hold the top on. Okay, so there's 4 big boxes that come in to the bottom here. We need to wiggle those loose. Okay, so I got the fuse box out. Now there are 2 10 millimeter nuts and a Phillips head screw down here that we need to remove this tray. It is not a Phillips head, so we can figure out what the heck it is. All right. Looks to be a 7 millimeter. Okay, so there's that piece out. Okay, so now we've got some wiring harnesses coming through here that we need to remove, so we're going to go ahead and pop those off. There's also a plastic protector on these wires that apparently we don't need, so we're going to go ahead and pull that off. All right, there it is. Okay, so now there's some ground wires here, and we need to remove these. Okay, so now we can actually take the tray itself out. So 10 millimeter, and there's a number of bolts for it. So there's the cover that covers the small auxiliary battery. So next we need to disconnect that auxiliary battery. And there it is. So now we just need to finish up taking the actual tray out. All right, so that's all unbolted. And it looks like I've still got a couple wires there. Try to get these all up and out of the way. One there. Now they say we should be able to just lift this out. Let's see if it actually works that way. Yeah, just lift it up and out of the way. That's all you got to do. A little bit more fiddly than the instructions make it out to be, but it's out. So apparently now we can actually start putting the actual Genesis off-road tray in. So let's see if we can get that figured out next. All right, so we got the new battery tray installed using the factory hardware. The next thing is we got to start putting together the fuse box. So there's a little clip on the bottom piece apparently that we need to remove. So on this bottom piece there is this clip right here. It needs to be removed. All right, so we got that clip removed, and then there is a matching hole in the base of that, of the Genesis off-road battery kit that plugs into, and we'll reuse that. Okay, so now we need to take the factory lower tray and put it in over the studs that are in there. We'll use factory hardware for that. Okay, so the fuse box base is in. All right, so now we can put our connectors back. I zip tied them up out of the way, so got the zip ties here. So these apparently actually clip into the base. Oh yeah. Nice, so those clip in there nice. Okay, so now we can get our fuse box back in place here. All right, that's clipped back into place. Now let's start laying out our wires where we need them. All right, so we got the fuse box all back in place. We just need to put the cover on, so we'll do that, and then we can actually start putting our batteries in, get the control module installed, and then we can actually start hooking everything up. So now we got that in place, we need to start reassembling everything else in here. So I'm going to do some work cleaning up some of these wires. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a little bit, but we're going to get the air box back in. We're going to clean up some of these wires that are running through here. We're going to get the power steering reservoir connected, reconnected, and we'll start getting this thing done. I'll show you once I start actually hooking the batteries up. Okay. So now, I can supposedly connect the positive to there. Tighten that down with the 10 millimeter. So now you take the positive that was on the auxiliary battery down below, and this has been taped up quite a bit, which I don't believe is factory. I have had the auxiliary battery replaced on this Jeep previously by the dealer under warranty. So I'm thinking they did this, but the video instructions from Genesis do say that the boot that is on here tends to be in the way. And to pull it off. All right, so remove this 10 mil. That goes in there. So we connect the other positive. Okay. Aha. For the final one. All right, let's see what's next. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to add a cable that goes into the fuse box to tell it that it's running with the smart alternator. So just reach in and grab this green wire, connect those. There it goes. Okay, so F57. So F57 is the driver's side heated seat, and that is only powered when the ignition is on. So you pull that fuse, put it in there. Okay, so I ran that into the fuse box. We should be good to go on there. All right, so the Genesis dual battery kit is finally complete. I've got all my stuff hooked up to it. I do have some work I want to do in the future, just cleaning up some of the wiring, and I've got some things I want to add to get some power to the inside, to power like my fridge and that kind of thing. But that's going to have to wait for another time. We are about 36 hours away from leaving on a big overland trip with this vehicle and the gray Jeep, so I've got a few more things to do. So we're going to get started that first thing in the morning. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time on Second Chance Overland.